All right, my friends, here we go. General Order 5. In cases of extreme emergency, Federation special representatives are empowered to assume emergency powers to deal with a condition or circumstances that is deemed hazardous to the welfare of the Federation during Federation citizenry. That is definitely a mouthful. Within the scope of these emergency powers, duly authorized civilian personnel may assume temporary command of Starfleet vessels and or personnel to deal with the emergency. Starfleet personnel must submit to their authority for the duration of the crisis. Well now, isn't that a mouthful? And I imagine has caused quite a bit of conflict between the Starfleet command and its command structure, captains and commanders and so forth, and the civilian side of the Federation's government. The obvious thing is this would be a case-by-case situation here, because it's just how many circumstances occur that would require a civilian member of the Federation to step forward and take command. I can think of very few episodes in any of the TV series or movies where this has occurred. I'm just not saying that it hasn't occurred, and I think there was at least one, but I'm struggling, maybe two. I'm struggling to put my finger on the exact one, because to think about this, I would assume we're talking, maybe that's a fallacy. It's easy to assume that when they refer to things of this nature, special duly deputized members of the civilian government, or civilians, period. It doesn't actually specify that it has to be from the Federation government. It could be any civilian that's been deputized or been appointed by the Federation Council, or somebody high enough in the Federation government. Federation special representatives. So I guess it's not just any joke you public. Although I still think that there's a bit of gray there, because who could be, pretty much anybody could be designated a special representative if the situation warranted enough. The first thing that comes to mind would be a scenario where somebody is a specialist who specializes in a specific culture or emergency situation, or perhaps in some sort of technology that it's deemed that the Federation or the Starfleet command, president, the captain, crew, or what have you, are insufficiently trained or informed on the potential ramifications and or dire circumstances that could come out of something going south real bad, specifically technology-wise, perhaps scientific research. In social situations, I could see a Federation member, key member world in having some kind of emergency, whether it's an environmental emergency or a crisis from within the local government or something, and that the particular person is charged by the Federation Council to rectify the problem, or to search out and find out what's causing the problem and fix it. And to do so, have given them this temporary authority under this General Order number 5 to command Starfleet assets to achieve these goals. I can also see this being a very sticky, possible vague scenario where somebody coming in claiming to have this emergency power, if you will, and able to produce enough legal documents and or an associate or somebody within the high command of the Starfleet command or in the federal government saying, yes, we've given this individual the power to do whatever, and it's up to you to listen to what they say. Another possible thing that comes out of this is some scenarios that are not unlike what are attributed to the infamous Section 31. To assume that Section 31 is the only secret, semi-secret agency within Starfleet or within the Federation would probably be a mistake. You're dealing with a very large, very detailed government entity here. So the possibility for government departments and bureaus and things within, under the smoke screens of other things are quite possible. And it also fits with that bureaucracy mindset. And so having some civilian come aboard and then some situation occurs, and or the civilian comes aboard and then takes the captain aside and gives them the order number 5 and shows them their credentials and then tells the captain, you don't need to know. It's not a need to know basis. I will inform you. I will deem when you need to know about what we're doing and why, if ever. Your orders are to just do what I say. How well does that sit with any Starfleet commanding officer based off of the examples we have to go by? And just how far would some of them go to, carry out the order blindly? I honestly can say that Picard, Kirk, Sisko, none of them would blindly accept that. They would, at some point or another, corner this individual and force them to give them at least some reasonable justification as to why we're doing something so potentially dangerous or chicanery or questionable, or why are we sitting out here in the middle of backwater nowhere twiddling our thumbs? What's our real reason for being here? That is probably one of the downsides or the dangers of being in the Starfleet, being in the military, is that you are subject to the whims of the civilian government more than what you would like it to be. So on occasion you're going to get some Federation diplomat or Federation council member or some troubleshooter or what have you who's going to come aboard and create some level of havoc amongst your command structure by doing things or saying things or making demands on the ship and crew that are outside the normal purview or parameters of what the Starfleet operates. I can also potentially see this as General Order 5 could also be the way to circumvent several of the other general orders, thinking of the Prime Directive right off the bat. General Order number 4, where you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to allow or tell under any circumstances a newly discovered intelligent life form that you're from outer space and or that you're space capable. Just the same as I'm looking at all the general orders. Some General Order 5 could be the justification to violate pretty much every general order here, and I imagine most of the Articles of Federation too, in the right circumstances. But then who dictates the circumstances? If you think about that for a minute, if your character, your players are the crew, potentially the command crew of said Federation vessel, who's then just been basically commandeered by some suit saying we have something we have to go do, or I have something I need to do, and I need to borrow the ship and or bits and pieces of the crew for a specific away mission or for a specific mission, and then you discover later that you're violating half the Starfleet's orders to do this, and or basic tenets of the Articles of Federation. Have you gone below the belt, gone beyond the dark side of the moon kind of thing? And can you come out of it without having any kind of ramifications against the captain and crew? The argument can be made in their defense that they acted duly acted appropriate based off of General Order 5. This is what we were told, this is what we weren't told. We did everything asked of us as pursuant of General Order 5. So if this violates any of the other tenets or commandments of the Federation and or Starfleet, it's on the back of the special representative and whomever deputized that person. and whatever their aims and goals were. Possibility for this General Order 5 also being abused comes to mind too. I mean, if somebody can twist this around to achieve a goal that's detrimental to the health and welfare of the Federation or one of its allies, or perhaps initiates conflict where no conflict existed before, or something along any venue here, then disappears later, leaving the ship captain and the crew to holding the bag, so to speak. You know, even more so, what happens if you're in the process of doing something that's considered immoral or illegal and goes against everything that you feel the Starfleet and the Federation stands for, and then in the process, the middle of this, whatever it is we're doing, under General Order 5, the Federation Special Representative gets killed or disappears, leaving once again the crew and the captain to extricate themselves as best they can from what could be a multitude series of violations and or dire circumstances. Isn't that convenient? I think there's some dangers here. I can see the need for this kind of general order to some degree, although I question whether it ought to be a general order. Perhaps it should be a specialized circumstantial order. We see a handful of those. The one that parallels Section 31 is an example of that. There's an addendum 2, and it's either General Order 14 or General Order 24 that is the hallmark for Section 31's existence. It's from this particular general order that it is created, or it's that, or it's Article 14 or Article 24 of the Starfleet. That's a good question, because you know there's a lot of parallels with this General 5 and some of the actions that the Section 31 has a nasty habit of taking and doing. Sure, General Article, well, that's Article 4. Let's see, Article 11, Article 14, Chapter 14, Articles 97 through 101. Says the interest of the bureaucratic efficiency, the principal administration and obligations for the Federation shall be divided among various department bodies headed by a duly each department is responsible for reporting the Federation. Each department may in turn recommend to the Federation that Council create subordinate bodies under their control to maximize government efficiency and or to deal with specific problem or conditions as may arise. That might be where that came from. I don't know. I will later Google that again. I was looking at it the other day, and it kind of buggered my head a little bit, because I know that, first off, I know that these are initial concepts that came up in Star Trek canon from the very early days that FASA borrowed, so to speak. FASA did not ad-lib here and add a bunch of stuff that wasn't already pre-existing within the tenets. Yes, definitely not General Order 4. Our fleet personnel may intervene in local planetary affairs to restore general order, secure the lives and property of Federation citizens only upon receiving a direct order to do so from a civilian official with the title of governor or higher. General Order number 24. If a commanding officer deems that an individual or group of individuals pose a threat to Starfleet personnel or Federation civilians, he may take action to deem necessary, including force, to secure the safety of those threatened. See, that's the one I'm pretty sure that Section 31 falls under, because there's been some debate in the TV shows about Section 31, whether or not it's part of Starfleet or part of the Federation in general. And I think it's a member of it's a division within Starfleet that acts under its own accord based off of the tenets of General Order 24. So at some point, some high commanding officer of Starfleet created Section 31 and gave it a mandate, which included ignoring any future mandates saying to disband or to shut down. And so at some point or another, they have access to resources and materials that are part of black budget operations. So there you have General Order number 5. A bit of a questionable general order as far as I'm concerned. Till the next time, this is the Batman saying, game on. Enjoy the nice weather. It's rainy and getting more and more like, and then I got my little buddy here. Yeah, how's that? What? And right along in the grease truck? All right.